All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. I like to think I'm pretty fit. Now, I'm not the fittest person out there, but I keep myself busy. I'm always doing something, always on the run. I like to eat healthy food. I don't really like takeaway. Macca's, I'll stay away from things like that. I regularly go to the gym maybe once a week. I'm definitely not regular enough, and it's only for about 15 minutes on the treadmill, which is definitely not long enough, but I do stuff, right? And the other week, to my surprise, I got told that I had slightly high cholesterol after doing a blood test. Now, for me, that's a big deal because I've never had something like that before. And for me, I just had that perception that I would, or not the perception, but I just felt that I'd never be diagnosed with something like that. I never thought I'd ever have high anything. And it was a bit of a scare now. I think part of it is getting old, and because our bodies just do different things, and when you're younger, I feel that you can get away with a lot more things. Part of it could just be habits, with work and family and all the rest of it. Either way, it really took me back, and since then, I've just been paying a lot more attention to being fit, doing gym at least twice a week, doing it for a bit longer, pushing myself a bit more, and it really got me thinking. Now, this is something I've discussed several times over the last couple of months with clients and friends and people. And we just talk about, and the conversation is around the fact that most people normally don't take action until something like that happens. You probably have a family member, you can probably relate to it, where there's someone that probably didn't want to give up smoking or didn't want to exercise or was just eating whatever they wanted until they got told by a doctor or someone that they're borderline diabetic, or that they would lose their a body part or a part of their lifestyle, or something was going to happen, or maybe something did happen and then that person started exercising and really working hard. It's a common theme, and there's obviously a lot of psychology to it. Like, a lot of us don't do things sometimes, or we procrastinate things. We put things off until there's some sort of urgency. But at the same time, it really got me thinking about money. And money, I find, is very, very similar. Now, as an advisor, I talk to many couples and individuals, and many times I can't explain to you how many times I've sat in front of someone that needs to do better. They admit that they can do better, but they don't want to. They don't feel the need, or they don't have an urgency to budget. They don't have an urgency to even get advice sometimes, or to make changes, or to consult people, or to look at their super, or what their money's doing, or what they're spending, and all these things that we should all be doing. And it just gets me thinking about situations like that. And then you can just imagine those same people that when things do get tough, and whether someone loses a job or expenses go up significantly, and suddenly there isn't this surplus in their budget, that they start tightening up things, and they start being more careful, and they start watching their spending, and they start getting financial advice, and they start speaking to their peers and their friends and their partner, and putting a plan together and structure, and looking at where their money's going and what their super's doing and what insurances they've got. And I just think I wish these people, and it's easy for me to say, first of all, I'm a financial advisor, but secondly, I am a third party. I'm looking at it from the outside. It's easy for all of us to criticize each other. I even procrastinate things, even personally, with my finances sometimes. There are certain things that I should probably do that I put off, and I eventually get done, but which is why I have an advisor and someone that holds me accountable. But it's also one of those situations where if you look back and you think, wow, like, it's, if only that person, when they go through that financial stress, they would think, if only I saved more before, if only I looked at these things before. just like me, I'm thinking if only I exercised an extra day a week 5 years ago, I wouldn't have high cholesterol. Now, it's not that bad, but still, the fact that I've got high cholesterol is scary, probably because I'm obsessed with eggs. So I think that the fact of me not being able to eat as many eggs is probably what scares me more than anything, more than dying, which is probably quite sad. But it's the idea that there's just this concept of, as I said, not having a fear and not having this urgency around something, whether it's health or money. Now, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because I can guarantee every single person listening to this episode has something in their life that they're procrastinating, something that they're delaying, something that they know they should be doing, something that's been at the back of their minds for a while. And I really want to take this opportunity to say, just do it. Just start the process. If your brain is telling you need to be doing something, do it. Whether it's setting up your wills, seeing a financial advisor, jumping on that treadmill, getting a gym membership, building a relationship with a family member that you should probably build that relationship with. Whether it's taking a jump and telling your boss that you want a pay rise, whether it's changing jobs, setting up a business, closing a business, whatever that thing is, don't wait until there's urgency. Don't wait until you don't have, don't wait until your options are limited. Don't wait until your time is limited. Take the opportunity now to be proactive and to make a change. And again, whether that would be speaking to an advisor, it doesn't hurt to speak to a financial planner. Me especially, but most planners that I know will sit down in the first appointment and they will be very honest with you if they feel that you need advice, if they feel that there is value there and that they can assist you. When it comes to health, there's nothing wrong with taking a vitamin. There's nothing wrong with getting a gym membership and exercising. Worst case scenario, worst case, you've wasted some of your time. Best case, you've improved your health. Another thing, sitting down and talking to your partner, putting out a budget, putting out your expenses, laying out your expenses, looking at where your accounts are, how they're set up. I've got some amazing episodes about this topic. If you go back to the beginning of this whole podcast show, one's called The B Word, and I think one's called Where to Begin. And I talk about structure and the benefit of having budgeting, having a budget and of budgeting as a couple, and set things up, talk about it. It's amazing how many couples have been together for years and they don't talk about money because they just put it off. And then when something happens, we should probably do a budget. We should probably talk about these things. We should probably cancel those 9 subscriptions that we don't use. So if you're proactive, your life will be so much easier. And I'm not sure if you know this, how long you've been following the show for, but the name Sharing More Than the Sheets, it was created because as an advisor over the years, I had sat around the dining table of literally hundreds of couples, and I figured out that in a lot of couples, they just assumed that because they shared the sheets, that everything else was going to work out. And that's where the name Sharing the Sheets came from. Originally, it was going to be a book, and worked out that I wasn't really a top-notch author. I'm not really the writing kind of guy. I'm more the speaking kind of guy. And here we go. Here's the pod, and then the podcast was born. So you can't just assume, you can't just expect things to happen. You need to make change. You can't just procrastinate. Don't wait for that diagnosis. Don't wait for that financial situation, that stress, that burden on your shoulders, that moment where you don't have options. Because I can tell you now, budgeting and managing your money is 100 times easier when you have options, when you have cash flow, and if you have savings, compared to if you had no options, no cash flow, and no savings. It is very, very difficult to budget when there's no cash flow or savings and your income is a lot less than your expenses. It's possible, don't get me wrong, and this is where I can help, but it's a lot easier if you do it in your own time and on your own accord. Not when the bank tells you, hey, your mortgage is due, otherwise we're taking your house. Or not when you lose your job and you're like, oh, okay, wow, I'm getting paid next week for the last time and I don't know when I'm getting another job. So make the choice, make the change, and put you and your partner, your family in a position where you have choice and you can make the change so that you and your family can do better, be better, and feel better. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.